Are you struggling with savings? Probably because you feel you earn so little to be saved, or because you just feel it's such a hard thing to do, maybe because you have so many bills to be paid. Or are you trying to save up to buy a house, a car, to pay your school fees, or just to go on a trip and it's been a bit of a struggle? In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you practical tips that can help anyone save on any income level, irrespective of how small the income is. So after watching this video, you're going to stop using low income as an excuse for not having a savings. Hi YouTube, it's Dami of Sensite, bringing you tips and strategies to grow your online influence and make smart money moves. So if you're new, consider subscribing. And if you find value in this video at any point, remember to hit the like button and share your thought in the comment section as you watch. Before we get started, let me just tell you this. You can save money on any income. It doesn't matter how low. Even if you're earning $200, $500, $1,000, $10,000, you can save some money. Your savings could just be low if your income is low, but there has to be a savings. All right. So tip number one, always have a budget. So you want to make sure that you have some really serious penned down budget that you are going to be seriously committed to. It's important for you to actually write them down. If you have them in your head, there is more chances that you are probably not going to stick to them. But if you have them written down, that way you'll be able to check when you're on track, check when you're actually going beyond your budget and stuff like that. If you haven't been doing this in the past, you have to start now because it really works. So how do you actually go about the budgeting? So you have to write down the amount of your actual income. If you have multiple streams of income, you have to write everything down and sum them up all together. So that in total is your income. So write that down and put it aside. You're also going to write down your monthly expenses. Those are like inevitable expenses. These are your house rent, your phone bill, internet, electricity, feeding, transport. You know them. You know those things that you can't live without. Those monthly recurring bills. So you have to write those down as well and sum that up. Take note, I'm not mentioning like clothing, shopping, or dinner, dates, nights, and vacation and stuff like that. No, we are talking about the monthly recurring fees that you can't absolutely live without. So what you want to do now is to subtract those inevitable expenses from your total income. And when you do this subtraction, and if you have nothing left, or you fall in the minus, then you have three things to do. First thing you can do, you may need to reevaluate your life expenses because you may probably be living in a house that doesn't match your income level. You may have to go on a lower package with your internet bill or your phone bill, for example, or you may be spending too much on food as well. We are going to be getting to the tips on how to reduce the money you spend on food shortly. The second thing you can try is to find some extra income streams, so that way you can earn more money so your needs can fit in. I have a video on side hustle ideas that you can start now, so make sure you check that out after this video. And third, you may just decide to do both. That is, you adjust your life expenses and you also find extra income source. That's the one I even recommend because that way you make more money and you're able to even save more money. I mean, who doesn't like more money anyways? My recommendation here is that you should not stop adjusting your life expenses or finding extra income source until your income versus expenses falls in a good shape. So back to our budgeting. Now, let's say that you've adjusted your expenses or maybe you've made more money, and now after taking out your inevitable expenses out of your income, you have certain amount left. So that now leads us to a point number two. So point number two, you want to prioritize your savings. So after following my tip number one, you want to put your savings first at this point. In fact, if you want to be really strict with it, you can actually make your savings part of your inevitable expenses. Yes, I know that sounds too extreme, but trust me, it works like magic. If you're really struggling with savings, try this out and trust me, it's going to work. With this rest of money, you have to be extremely disciplined. Like, you have to really discipline yourself. You have to have like a really strong determination. I know that there are so many temptations out there. There are so many things that calling your attention, but you have to be extremely disciplined at this point. So determine how much exactly you want to save out of those money left, and you want to set that aside. You want to save it away from all forms of temptation. I recommend that the saving portion should be the largest chunk of this leftover money. I know it's not such a very easy thing to do, especially when you have low income, but that's why I'm making this video, to encourage you and actually share with you some tips that can help you to achieve this. It is important here to note that if your income is low, your savings might be low as well. But don't let that stop you from keeping it aside. You'll be surprised how much those small money is going to accumulate to at the end of the year or so, depending on what period you're targeting to save that money. It's better than not having anything in the savings at all. So after setting your savings aside, then from the rest, you can start to think about your shopping, changing your wardrobe, buying those high-end shoes and whatever you want. Those online shopping here and there, those little vacation and all those things. So that should come after your savings has been settled. Listen, if you've been living from paycheck to paycheck and not having anything at all left at the end of the month until you get the next salary, it's because you've not prioritized your savings enough. If your idea of savings is to keep aside what you have left after satisfying all your needs and wants, then you may realize that you keep on struggling with savings even if you earn a lot. And this is why you hear some large income earners going broke. Imagine famous footballers going broke. Yes, I know it sounds weird, but yeah, it happens. And you see some low income earners saving up and achieving great stuff. So this is why it is extremely important for you to take control of your earnings and prioritize your savings. The thing here is, for some people, it's quite easy for them to just put aside that saving amount and they will never touch it. That alone is a gift. But it's not so for everyone. For some people, it's not easy for them to actually take that money and keep it aside. It's like a really difficult thing. And that's why I have this point number 3. So tip number 3, you want to make sure you're using a saving aid if you fall in the category of people that it's not so easy for them to keep the money aside. I just named this point saving aid. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Most of the banks these days actually have some saving features within the regular current account that we use. That these saving features allows you to open a separate purse or separate account that you can actually put money into. And how it works usually is that you are able to set a standing order. That's like a recurring, either monthly, weekly, however you want to set it. You are able to set that specific amount to be taken out automatically from your account and put inside this saving deposit account that is within your account. You don't have to, usually you don't have to go to the bank to do this, depending on how your bank actually operates. So this saving purse automatically takes the amount that you've set away from your account and is keeping it inside that separate purse for you without, not like exactly without your knowledge, because you set it yourself in the first place, but it's been taking it after that without asking you, without you actually having to go put that money aside. The way I recommend you use this is that you set that savings amount. After, of course, you have to have done your calculation like I explained. So you want to set that savings amount to go into your account before you start spending the money at all. So that way the money is going into the savings and you are automatically having the rest of the money for your expenses. So it kind of helps you to save when you're actually not the one saving. It's like the computer is saving for you. So this is a great way to save money. Your bank probably have this feature, so you may have to check with them and see how it works. So what you have to do is to just kind of zero your mind that you don't have that money. Even though it's yours, you have it, but have it at the back of your mind that it's meant for that specific thing that you want to use it for. So you don't run out of bread in the house and then go into that account to pick something from there. Actually, some banks don't even allow you to go there anyhow to take some money. Some of the banks, you have to close that account before you can take the money. And for some of them, if you want to take money when you are not set to take the money, they charge you for that. So they kind of make it difficult for you to go and take the money, which I think is actually great. If you're still getting tempted thinking of going to pick some money there, you think about how much you're going to get charged and you're like, oh, let me just leave it and manage my life. So this is the reason why I call it a saving aid. It actually helps you control your savings. If it's difficult, this is a really great feature. So what you want to do, if you don't know about this before, is check with your bank and see if they have this feature. And if they have it, just go for it. It will help a lot. These days, actually, if I'm choosing a new bank, this is one of the things I'm looking up to. If the bank doesn't have this kind of feature, bro, I'm like, maybe that's not the bank for me. So tip number 4, rescue the loose coins. I know this is funny, but this applies to people like me that are living in countries where coins are being spent. You just discovered that there are those little coins flying everywhere in the house, under the couch, under the bed, in your kitchen sink, in some drawers, you know. If you live where you spend coin, that probably happens to you. So you want to make sure you're rescuing all of this money. So what you want to do is get yourself a coin jar. They seem so small and insignificant, but honey, I tell you, the way money accumulates is surprising. So don't ever overlook this amount. I've been very guilty of this in the past because I came from a country whereby all our currencies are in notes. So these coins are like so insignificant to me, especially those 1 cent. I still hate the 1 cent though. All those cents are just like too insignificant. I used to not so care about them. But one year I just challenged myself and I decided to get a coin jar, and I picked up all those money flying around in the house into the jar, and I started to add some more. Whenever I get change from the store, whenever I get those bulky coins, annoying coins, I just dump them into that coin jar. And guys, you can't imagine, at the end of about 12 months, when I counted what was in that jar, it was about $400. So you can imagine $400 just like that. It may sound like small amount of money, but you know what you can do with $400 that you didn't even, it's not like you didn't work for it, but these are the monies that you weren't taking care of before. These are the monies that you consider so significant before. $400 is not a joke. If someone should just give you $400, my guy, is something. So you can actually set a time for yourself, like you're going to have that jar for maybe 2 years, 1 year, whatever time you decide. So just do that and save all those coins. If you even want to go extra, you can decide to be keeping even more money inside it. Like if you have those extra €5, $5 that I just feel, let me just put this in the jar. This actually makes the jar money accumulate a lot more, and you'll be surprised what you are going to get at the end of the period. I remember that I challenged my sister about this coin jar thing, and she was able to save, I think, over $100 within 4 months. This is pure savings without you feeling the impact. So I challenge you to, if you haven't been doing it, try this out and see what you can put together. So tip number 5, filter your subscriptions. So many of us are subscribed to things that we are not using at all, or maybe we are not using so often, or maybe we are even using them but we can actually live without them. This could be subscriptions for apps, entertainment platforms like Netflix, or maybe some newspaper delivery. Each of these things could actually run you about $5, $10, or even $50, depending on what it is in a month. So you want to take your time and actually filter your subscriptions and see what you're using, what you're not using, what you can cancel completely, or maybe what you can go on a lower subscription. If you try this, you will see that you actually get to save yourself some money and still live your life as you want. You could save yourself up to $10, $50, or even $100, depending on how much subscriptions you have and that you're able to cancel or change your package by simply doing this. So tip number 6, eat at home.
Eat at home. Eat at home.
You guys, my family is even guilty of this, but we are getting better. Of course, that family dinner at a fancy restaurant is really cool and desirable, but it comes with a price. And if you're on a low budget, you want to reduce the frequency of eating out and cooking your own meal instead. So depending on what stage you are at your eating out habit, you want to start to reduce it slowly till you get used to it, or till you probably become very rich that you can even decide to eat at home every single day. It's actually not so healthy. For us, we started to reduce the eating out to twice in a month and then to once in a month, which we are currently at. And the pandemic really helped a lot because even when we wanted to go out to eat, there was no restaurant where you can eat. So we just have to put that money back in our pocket. It's been 3 months now of not eating out, and that makes a lot of difference in our expenses. So you want to try that yourself. If you have the habit of eating out a lot, try to reduce it gradually. Maybe if you've been eating like thrice in a month, then you can try to reduce it to twice in a month, once in a month, or even, I don't know, it depends on what you can handle. But just try to cut down on eating out as much as possible and prepare your own meal at home. That way you can save yourself even more money on food. So tip number 7, help reduce your utility bill. This one is simple, but it can save you some coins. So you want to turn off those lights that you are not using. You want to unplug those appliances when you don't use them. And these are your phone and computer charger, electric kettle, your hair dryer, your blender, every single thing. You want to unplug them when you're actually not using them. If you just switch them off and you leave them plugged on, they still consume some electricity that are going to add up to your utility bills at the end of the month, which you are going to be paying for. And if you want to go even a little bit extra with this, you can decide to have like a challenge in your house, maybe a couple of evenings in the week. You can decide to have like tech-free evenings that you actually switch and unplug all TVs and all those things that you don't really need, and also turn off all lights, and you can light up some candles to replace the light, and also play some board games with your family members to replace the TV. This way you're even connecting a bit more with your family and at the same time trying to save yourself some money. So in conclusion, your money, those wages, those salaries, they are your greatest asset. If you fail to manage them wisely, as they come in, so they go out, and they will be gone and gone forever. Because even though they are your money, when you get them, they are yours. By the time you spend them on all those not so necessary shopping, they cease to be yours. You are never going to see them again. They cease to be yours. They then become someone else's income. The only ones you keep aside in your savings are the ones that stay with you, and they are the ones that have the potential of becoming bigger. And when I talk about becoming bigger, that has to do with investment and stuff, and we are going to get to that in my subsequent videos. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more interesting topics like this. If you've watched this video this far, that means you probably enjoyed the video or you've gotten some value in this video so far. So smash that like button and share the video with those that may need it. The link to our brand new Instagram page for this channel will be in the description box, so you can check that out as well. And again, my name is Dami and you're watching Senside. I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye bye.